Hello, we are live with about a minute early, waiting for our co-host to come on for today. Uh, but I wanted to go live, start doing some more streaming. I look like I just woke up, but I swear I've been up for hours. Come on. I swear I'm a professional. And there we go. Alrighty then. So while we wait for our guest, we're just gonna kind of talk about stuff and whatever you guys think is interesting and fancy talking about. I probably should have set this up beforehand. So bear with me for a second while I diddly do. There he is. How you doing today, bud?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you pretty all right.
Nice, man. Dude, limited options. I'm immobile, so I'm in the kitchen, literally posted up with the crutches right here.
Yeah, I figured you would.
How's it going, man? How's the weather out there?
It's gorgeous out here.
Nice. How's the drum lesson? Pretty good.
Oh, it didn't connect to Bluetooth. We're having a little technical difficulty here. There we go.
Nice.
So it helps when you hit the right button. So, week 7 in the books.
Yep.
How do we? Where do we want to start? We want to start with the Chiefs. How are we feeling about the Chiefs? Do we think they're contenders, pretenders?
Yeah, of course, contenders. They just find ways to win. They're used to those, battle tested for those fourth quarters, man. And then they just outgrounded them and just ball control. Andy Reid always is a trick up the sleeve. They always usually win ball control. I mean, they just know how to win.
And I think that's Patrick Mahomes. He's good for 3, right?
Yeah.
They're a little banged up, but I think they'll be able to get healthy before the deadline, and that's like making a deal for nothing.
Yeah.
And
maybe Devontae Adams, but then they got there'll be other guys. DeAndre Hopkins might be on the block. There's other Mike Williams, because now the Jets just added Devontae Adams, so Mike Williams is kind of expendable. I think the Chiefs will add they've lost Rashee Rice. They've lost a couple weapons. Obviously, they're running back for a while, Pacheco. So Chiefs will be on the market for another weapon.
Yeah, and their defense looks solid, so I don't think they really need to do anything defensively.
Yeah, it's really stepped up recently. I mean, since last year, that's really like a top 8, top 7, maybe defense, top 5 sometimes.
Yeah, maybe even top 5. I mean, they looked really good against San Francisco, and
yeah, they could be. They're right there.
And I think San Francisco.
Yeah,
I think everybody's ready.
Go for it, man.
I think everyone's writing San Francisco off way too early. I think a lot of their issues, I think they're injury bit, like a lot of teams in the league right now.
Yeah,
it's really hard to be cohesive when you're constantly having to plug and play new guys. So when it comes to San Francisco, I look to see them get healthier, and once they're healthier, I think they'll be all right. I don't want to write them off so soon.
Yeah. Yeah, they know how to win, but their injuries, man. Since training camp, you lose the MVP, you lose Christian McCaffrey. They've been kind of snake bit a little bit, and then they just lost Brandon Ayuk. So they've lost
for at
linebackers,
least a
linemen.
couple of weeks.
They've really been getting hit by
Yeah.
injury. So it's like not getting late early, but some cause for concern. They're not as dominant as they were last 2 years. Injuries kind of hit them hard this year.
And the other teams in the NFC. The NFC is just super strong this year.
Yeah, it really is. You'll see. I mean, teams like Detroit, I think they're it's kind of their year. I think if they hold on and do what they're supposed to do every game out there. But then you're going to have the other heavyweights. NFC is always deep. I like the AFC looks too. Not to jump around, but yeah, I mean, there's.
Oh yeah, no, I'm totally okay with jumping around. We don't have to. We don't have to sit on any one.
I thought it seemed like
in the
AFC. I thought Houston's kind of there. Baltimore's always there. I thought Bengals are always lethal.
They looked good last night.
Bengals just been off to a bad start, but when you have Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase, you can do whatever. You're capable of great things.
And Philly looked.
Yeah, Philly looked pretty good.
Philly looked like they finally. They've been sputtering. They've been kind of rolling in circles the last couple of weeks, and they had they got into a little bit of a scuffle with their own fan base. But I think they'll be all right. And we already talked about Detroit, so I'm talk about the other half of that matchup is Minnesota. I like what I saw from Minnesota, being able to mix coverages. I think that, like you said already, it's Detroit's year. When you have a quarterback, when you get pressure on the quarterback and he still goes 10 for 11 or for 140 some odd yards and a pair of touchdowns, that's just living right.
Yeah.
And And I like what Minnesota did. They mixed coverages. They were able to get pressure. They were able to get to him a handful of times. Unlike the other 6 teams that Detroit had played, or 5 teams, because they had to bye already. But and when it comes to that, I think Minnesota is going to be a tough out. In the NFC, I think I wouldn't count out San Francisco, Philly, Seattle is one of those Jekyll and Hyde teams.
Yeah, they're on the fringe. They could, but they couldn't. They're very erratic. Roller coaster every week.
Yeah, they're a Jekyll and Hyde team. Like they played Atlanta this last Sunday in Atlanta, and they beat up on Atlanta, and Atlanta had looked good.
Yeah,
coming into this week, and it's just I don't know. I understand.
They've just been
frustration.
It's really since last year. I think Geno Smith was really good, and then he's kind of tapered off and thrown a little bit more interceptions, and then Pete Carroll leaving. So there's a new coach. The coach didn't really have much experience. I was watching a couple games. I watched the Giants go into Seattle and beat them, and it's like 37-34. Like the Giants are racking up points. The Seattle D is really hit or miss. I don't know. Seattle's just you never know what you're going to get with them from week to week basis.
Yes, I think when we get down to week 16, 17, 18, the back half of the schedule, Seattle will be one of those teams where you don't want to face them in the first round. I think Seattle is fixing to be you don't want to catch them in the first round team.
I literally got my leg up here elevated, so I'm at a weird angle, kind of like with a new monitor too. But it's the same backup. I gotta get the background a little bit cleaned up now that I'm on a podcast with you guys. Yeah, no,
I'm gonna start doing this pretty much daily until I get another gig. I'm just out of work right now, so I need something to do to take up my day. Yeah. I know you said that you lost your gig, so I figured I'd throw this stream together and hang out for a couple hours.
Sharpen our skills, have fun, shoot the shit.
Yeah, pretty much. And we don't have to. We can talk about whatever. We don't have to stay strictly sports. If you want to talk about other things, pop culture or politics or whatever, I'm good with that.
Maybe like movies or music or whatever. We can play it by ear.
Yeah,
I'm always open.
yeah. We'll keep it loose. We'll keep it loose.
Exactly.
But I figure we
potential. Just let it flow. Whatever happens. You excited?
Whatever's whatever.
Yeah, I'm just back to the Eagles a little bit since I am diehard Eagles. The one thing
in
the room is the coach, man. I really think he has to go at him. He's had some good moments. I know he got up to the Super Bowl. A lot of that credit because I watch them religiously every week. Read stuff about him all the time on the message boards. I'm hooked.
Right.
It's like he keeps coming back to he's kind of lost the locker room. I think the Super Bowl, you had Steichen and Gannon, now the Colts and Cardinals head coaches. They were the coordinators on that awesome Eagle run. He's kind of been exposed. Right. He doesn't take credit, but then if they have a 4th and 1 and they hit, he'll say, "Oh yeah, by the way, I called that play." So it's like no one knows how much influence he has, but then he says he doesn't call plays. I just think he's kind of a rah-rah guy. I think with that talent of that roster, that could be a Super Bowl team again. But I don't know if I think his time is up. I don't know what your thoughts are on Sirianni.
When you're winning, and I have a hard time pulling the plug on a coach that's winning.
Yeah.
Especially a coach that's winning big games, and I think he tries to do too much as a head coach,
Yeah. A little cute sometimes, that's for sure.
Yeah, he does get cute. But I think what I saw last week versus the week before, and I don't know if you saw that clip of him talking to Saquon on the bench. Saquon was 14 some odd yards from breaking his personal best.
Yeah.
And a coach that has lost the locker room, a coach that doesn't care about his players, a coach that doesn't have the players' ear, doesn't get that concession from a star player. And so that
was a good look. As a hardcore Eagle fan, that is a big vote of confidence for him. Sorry, Adam. I had to quickly agree with you. Being a big Eagles fan,
you're good.
That backs him up. That does vouch for him pretty well. You're right. I don't think there would have been quite as rosy and lovey-dovey over there on the sideline if they didn't still have each other's backs.
Yeah, if the players weren't bought in still, because I think you can have a coach that loses the locker room. I've definitely seen it before. For the many years in Detroit, from Morning Wig to Martz and oh god, there was a guy came over from San Francisco. Oh, I'm not going to be able to call.
Man, I'm coming up blank on that one.
Not Schottenheimer. Mariucci.
Yeah, Mariucci. Mooch.
Yeah.
Moochie.
And I've seen that where a year or 2 years in, and the guys just don't care. They're just there to cash a check.
Yep.
And at a certain point, can you blame them? I mean, like, when you're going out there every week and you're getting the stuffing kicked out of you, and nothing you're doing is working, and the guy to your left and the guy to your right stink, and you're gutting it out there for 16, 17, 18 weeks, and it's not getting any better. It's like, why bother?
Yeah.
Why bother? And I love football. I don't know if you play, but I never played competitive, organized football. I always played backyard football.
That's what high school. That's awesome.
And at a certain point, it's just like, why bother, right? Like, you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to be 6-10 at the end of the year, and you're not playing for your job. You get some teams that are 6-10. You got some young guys or some middle of the road guys. The stars aren't going. The guys that are locked into long-term contracts, they ain't going anywhere. Everybody knows that.
Yep.
You got your star players, the guys that are going to be making, $10, $20, $30 million a year. They're not going anywhere. So they lay off a couple of plays, and it's like
that's travesty for the whole. That's a collective that ripple effect is everywhere. Then it's like cancerous, unfortunately, for lack of a better phrase. And then and then other injuries happen, and people are in-house fighting. Team morale is low, and then it becomes a real bitch, a real chore to like show up. If you're not playing for versus like a look at that Ravens team, love them or hate them, those guys always play like they're on fire, like they're in battle.
Well, look at Pittsburgh.
They always go 100 miles an hour every play, dude. Every play.
Well, if you want a perfect example of that, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been that
they go hard. They go hard every play. They go hard.
They go no matter whether they're 8-9 or they're 9-8. They're 8-8 going. They're 7-8 going into the last week, and there's nothing on the line, and they're just playing for pride. Mike Tomlin gets that team up and has them ready to go, and Pittsburgh fans can complain all they want about how we're always mediocre, we're always 9-9, we're always 8-9.
50 different quarterbacks since Big Ben, like 40 different quarterbacks, whatever the hell. I exaggerate, but I don't too much. Like it's been a carousel, so it's like I don't know if it's Tomlin or not, but they always play hard. They're always awesome on defense. They're always max effort. The Ravens are like that. There's certain teams. The Chiefs, those players consistently they play hard for their teammates. For their fans, for their families, like that's a culture, like family culture. The Bills, look at the Bills; they're always hitting hard.
Yeah,
they're always going 100%.
They're always up.
You can notice the effort.
They're always up.
Most of the elite teams are just they're going. Yeah, they're well coached. They believe in their system, like you said. You got to believe in the coaches. Like they'll go hard. You'll go hard if you play for Andy Reid. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
Versus like a rookie coach in Carolina. People are taking plays. Arizona Cardinals, who knows? But like Pittsburgh, the guys are. If you don't go hard, you'll probably get cut in training camp, or they just won't sign you or draft you. They draft hard workers.
Well, and it's like, and we're focusing on Carolina because they don't get talked about a lot, but I know we've all had shitty jobs, and everybody thinks like it's a dream job playing in the NFL, and it is. But once the point you're playing, it's hard to be the only guy out there giving 100%.
Oh, that's dangerous too.
Well, and you look around and you're like, is he giving 90? Is he giving 95? Yeah. If that's him at 100%, Jesus Christ, we're fucked. And you can cuss, I don't care. If you're looking around, you're on the Panthers or you're on the Browns, like you're on the Browns, you're on the Panthers, you're on, Miami, and especially with the Tua injuries and all the nonsense at quarterback, and it's like, my God, if this is 100%, what the fuck are we doing out here?
Yeah. They're just a losing culture too. They just identify as losing. But the Panthers got just steamrolled by Washington. I know Jaden Daniels is really good, but like it was like 44-0.
Well, and you look around.
Their owner's so bad. They're hitting they draft Bryce Young. They can't decide.
And he's a bust.
Total bust so far. I don't know how much of it is his fault. Just totally mishandled.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And then you look around and you're like, and you're like you're the second, you're the backup offensive lineman or you're, a substitute linebacker, and you're like, my God, if this is 100%, what the fuck am I doing out here? And everybody wants to criticize these guys for not giving 100%, and it's like, but we are giving 100%, and we're you ever have your car stuck in the mud? You ever get your truck stuck in the mud?
Yeah.
And if you sit there, you can give it 100%. You can give it 100%. You can sit there, and you can crank on that wheel all day long, and you can stand on the gas. But all you're doing is just digging yourself deeper and deeper and deeper into that mud. And at a certain point, you got to slow down. And when I look around Carolina, I'm trying to, Miami, Carolina, New Orleans.
I don't even know if it's effort with Carolina. They still play hard. They've been like injuries, and then they traded Brian Burns, their star pass rusher from Florida State. They traded him to the Giants. Like they totally the quarterback draft pick. Their line's been terrible. Like they're just in this environment. Like they don't know how to win. They have to learn how, like as a group.
Yeah. And it's like, and the unfortunate thing is that, when you have a bad offensive line, it's really hard for a rookie quarterback to come in and survive a year or two.
God, yeah. Derek Carr.
And,
his brother, David Carr.
Yeah, David Carr, Bryce Young.
We've seen many. We've seen him come and go.
Justin Fields in Chicago.
Yeah. A bad line.
Mitch Trubisky.
It's devastating, especially to a rookie quarterback.
Yeah. And look at Daniel Jones in New York. How awful has their offensive line been?
Turnstile.
And
musical chairs.
And then you look at Jared Goff in Detroit versus him in Miami or in LA with the Rams. When the Rams were a mediocre, a mid-level team, they had poor offensive. They had a good defense, solid defense, and poor offensive line play.
Aaron Donald, Chris Long.
Yep, I forget who all was on that team. Some nice
linebackers. Bobby Wagner, maybe they had some players.
Yeah. And Jared Goff just got beat up every game under pressure.
Not protected well enough.
And he was not effective.
Yeah, Detroit and Eagles. Many say one or the other, like best offensive line. Look, Detroit's small.
Yeah, Detroit has the best offensive line in the game.
It helps God. It opens up the running game. It gives the players time. It starts and ends.
They got
you win in the trenches. Andy Reid.
Yep.
You win in the trenches. That's why you see offensive line, so much offensive line, defensive line in the first couple rounds.
Well, it's
pass rushers everywhere.
It's a cliche for a reason, right? Because it's true.
Yeah.
Right? If you're not winning up front, if you're not creating that pocket, if you're not creating that 6 to 12 foot bubble that allows the quarterback to step up or slide.
Yeah.
And you're not, NFL running backs don't need 6 foot holes. They need about 24 inches of daylight is all I'm asking for. You give me 2 foot to either side, I can hit that hole and I can go forward. And when you look at what Detroit has done, what Minnesota has done, what Philly has done, what Kansas City does, and you compare and contrast that to Carolina, New Orleans, the Giants,
just like 7 different guards playing.
The Jets.
Just like all these shiny toys, all these sick, powerful weapons, these fast sports cars, and then nothing in the So the quarterback and Saquon Barkley now is twice the room to run in Philly. Like, it just it limits a bad line. It hurts the entire. Or you plug an average running back in there, like Baltimore every year has like a different guy who rushes for like 800 yards. Like behind a good line, it makes running backs twice as good behind a good line. So it's just like,
and talk about the rich getting richer. Now they have Derrick Henry back there, and it's like son of a bitch, And conversely,
I was gonna say you were right yesterday. You said, "Well, Tampa could be good." I love what Baker's doing, but dude, Mike Evans and Godwin down. Hold on, just a second, Adam. Hold on a second.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Just mute it for 10 seconds. I just got to take this.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I'm going to go grab another drink and some Nixie. I'll be right back. But Yeah. Hmm. What else? Oh, I got plenty. I just need to grab some water. You good to go? All right. And we're back. I just wanted to grab some water. I sit here, I'm gonna drink all my sodas, and I can't get any more until tomorrow. So I was like,
Oh,
let me get some water.
I'm on crutches next 6 weeks, man. So I think my best and pretty much only option, mostly, which I'm fine doing, but it can be a little pricey, and I'm not looking to spend money. Yeah, Amazon Fresh. I ordered that to get like $40 of groceries for the next 7 days. That's always a solid option. I just got into. So
Yeah. You could always DoorDash groceries too.
Yeah.
There's options. You get an Uber.
We had a good freight train going there, like good momentum on.
Oh yeah, that's what
offensive line talk you were saying about.
Yeah.
And Baltimore. Just see certain teams, man. They appreciate offensive linemen. They draft like a TJ Watt, or they look for like a Ray Lewis in Baltimore, or they'll look for a guy like TJ Watt. Like Pittsburgh looks for fierce defenders that fit that like black and gold tradition. They draft like they scout culture there. Buffalo does that a lot. They like, and you'll see that those teams' effort levels are always 100%.
And it's like when you're a bad
or the guy gets cut or traded. If you're not giving it all,
they
don't put up with bullshit. They'll get rid of you.
Well, and it's like who Brian Scalabrine is. You ever heard of him?
Of course, yeah, Big Scal.
Yeah. I didn't know how obscure of a reference that was getting.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah. Well, this was many years ago. It was like 2008 or 2009. I don't remember. And some fan was hassling him about being bad, and he looked at the guy in the crowd, and he was like, "I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me," and that stuck with me. And I think about that all the time when I'm watching sports. Is like, we talk about hustlers, we talk about hustle play, giving 100%, and it's like, those guys at 50% are 100% better than I'll ever be. And it's so hard when you're a 2-5 Jets, a 2-5 Oakland Raiders, or Las Vegas Raiders, and the season is kaput. And now you're just a schmuck out there getting hit every week for nothing.
Don't like Jets in the add, bro. That Jet don't add the Jets in there. They're doing everything now. I mean, they just signed Hassan Reddick finally, and then they just added Devontae Adams. So it's like it's a weird 2-5. Rodgers just he does not look young.
He looks awful. He looks awful. He looks washed. Yeah,
they've invested and they're bringing in all these Green Bay guys. They brought in Randall Cobb last year, who was like so.
Yeah, Alan Lazard.
Rodgers is controlling that team, and he's as a Jet in 2 years. He's won 2 games in 2 years. So
and he's played in
Aaron.
He's played in 8 games.
Yes.
and
he's bringing in Paul Hackett. He's handpicking like assistants. He's bringing in
Nathaniel Hackett,
Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, Devontae Adams. How many Packers do you need? 34. And he's
52.
He's the oldest Jet ever, and he can't stay healthy. But he's controlling and creating the entire team. It's like, what is going on? He's gonna retire in a month. He's gonna retire. They traded all these picks. They have 40 Packers on the roster, and he's gonna leave. He's gonna leave New York. What is he doing?
Yeah. Like in January, what are they gonna do in January? He retired. Are they gonna promote him to GM?
Half the roster's Packers that he recruited that don't. Then he'll leave. It's like they set him. He's like setting
Yeah.
them up, just getting veterans, whoever he wants, and then the coach.
Yeah. All just his buddies.
The coach gets fired. 2 weeks ago, they're 0-2.
Well,
they're 0-2 at the end.
Well, it's like when the kid gets the company that his dad built for over the last 40 years.
Yeah.
And instead of investing in the business for this business, an airplane manufacturing business or whatever, and he got out of Vietnam, and he started this little one garage shop, and he got all these, he spent the first 20 years barely being able to pay the bills, just enough to keep the lights and food and a roof over the kid's house, right? And then he got during the Iraq War, he got a huge grant from the government. Now he's got this 400,000 square foot assembly plant, right? And he just decided to retire last year, and now he's going to give the kid, he's going to turn the business over to the kid who went to school for business management.
Yeah.
And the kid comes in, he gets the keys to the office, and he goes and he throws his feet up on the desk, and he's like, "Fire all the old timers and bring in all my buddies from college."
Yeah, seriously. Just actually taking hold of everything. Just totally out of bounds, but he has there's no lead.
He's out of control.
He's
out of control.
He's like the owner by the balls, Woody Johnson.
And
It's so delusional. They love the idea of being big market. Like they want to get after all the Brady years, after all the years of Brady and Belichick tormenting the Jets. Now they're finally trying to come back big time. Just bringing in Rodgers has been a disaster so far, I think.
Well,
that's what it's been, the record, the wins and losses, 2-5 in 2 years.
Well, when you look at the, it was when in the early 2000s, 20, 25 years ago, in the early 2000s, they had the Chad Pennington years, and they were okay. Yeah. And then they had those 2 years with Mark Sanchez, and they went to back-to-back championship games and got blown out.
Yeah.
And everybody figured out who
the Rex Ryan years. They were close.
Yeah, everybody figured
they had some ballers, man. That was a good team. Sorry. They were very close. AFC champions.
They were very close. Yeah. And they got rid of, everybody started figuring out who Sexy Rexy was, and they got rid of him, and he got let go because they were no longer any. Mark Sanchez got exposed in the butt fumble game, and Rex Ryan got exposed.
The Chad Pennington.
They've had, but then for the last 15, after the Rex Ryan years, then they went into a tailspin.
Yeah.
And they finally hit bottom, and they were on their way up. And in 2021, everyone, or 2020, 2021, 22, the consensus around the league was, well, if they just had a quarterback, they're just a quarterback away. And the Packers had Jordan Love waiting in the wings, and fuck the Packers for having three generational quarterbacks in a row, assholes.
Gift wrapped, waiting under the tree for when they're ready, when they need them.
And the Jets were in need of a quarterback. The Jets were desperate for a quarterback, and they go out and they get a quarterback, and it's on paper, it looks like it could be a winner. And then
I like the idea. I like the move. They could go all in.
Yeah, 2 years ago, and we have there's a term for it. We have perspective. I guess I'll say of we can see into the living in the future. We can see how dumb of them we have perspective on that move, but at the time it didn't feel like it felt like a good move.
Of course. A lot of people agree with it. Let's not forget too the Jets without literally all they needed the last 2 years was a quarterback, just even an average QB, because they have one of the better young groups of defenders, Sauce Gardner, Quentin Williams up front. They have and now they have Reddick. And then offensively, Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. They had two of the best rookies last year in football. So coming back, they had two great young weapons at running back and receiver. They have some nice young pieces, and now they're just going all in with Rodgers and his old guys. I mean, how long?
Yeah, and it just feels.
How long is Rodgers going to even be there? I would hope at least next year, because he just got his best buddy Adams. But who knows, man?
Right.
It's all pretty erratic. It could go either way, man. It could easily go south. 1-3.
2-5. They really need to go on a 10-2 run to make the playoffs.
They have to. Yeah. Time's up.
Yeah, you're looking. So they're 7 weeks in. That leaves us 11 games left to play.
Like 3 in a row right now. They've won at least 2 in a row right
now.
Yeah,
really. To get back to 500 and really be able to.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, they need one. You got to start with one. If you really want to salvage it, we've got to get that. I'm not sure who they're playing this week. They may be on the bye. I don't remember when their bye is, but
I can look it up.
Yeah, look it up. But you get one while you're looking that up. You get that first win. You knock one down, and you can start feeling good about yourself.
No, it's
and then you can. Yes.
Just have to win a game.
And once when scoring the first one is the hardest one.
Jets next 3. Jets at Patriots this Sunday. Jets at Pats.
That's a winnable game.
The following week, Adam, it's a tough home matinee. Oh, actually Thursday Night Football, hosting the Houston Texans.
Ooh, that's a winner.
That's going to be a shootout. Stroud's going to put up.
Yes.
But I mean, you got Sauce Gardner. That's a nice matchup, man. Stephon.
Yeah, I like that matchup. Stephon Diggs, Sauce Gardner.
Nico Collins is injured, but you got Tank Dell, you got Diggs.
Yeah.
And then after that, they go on the road. Maybe a dangerous road game just because they're explosive. They could be the Cardinals. Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of a tricky team. They just beat the Chargers last night, the Cardinals. So
I didn't see
you know what I'm talking about. You know the Cardinals. They're not like scary, but they can do.
They're sneaky good.
They can score some points and have a nice game at home. You've seen them do that. They can light it up at home, especially Kyler Murray.
Well,
Kyler Murray is always capable of going off at any moment.
And the Cardinals are sneaky good. They're one of those teams that you don't. We're going to get down to the end. We're going to get down to the end of the year, and they're going to be fighting for a playoff for a wild card spot. They're going to be battling Chicago and probably Chicago. Because I think right now you have to look at it. Seattle's coming out of the West, and then you got San Francisco in Arizona fighting for that for that wild card spot. Well, probably the second, because I think the best 4 teams in the NFC right now are Detroit.
NFC East. You have NFC East. Then you have Commanders. Man, 100%. I think they're a playoff team. But yeah, right now they're tied with Philly, I think, or 5-2 and 4-2. So they're top, and then you got Dallas. Dallas is also right there. So Dallas 3 out of the NFC East. I think
it's.
I don't know.
I think it's that. I think it's the 4 out of the North, and the 3, and then you have Detroit, Green Bay, Chicago, and Minnesota. I think all 4 of those teams could come.
Wow.
Could make it. I know. I don't know. I can't remember.
Adam, you're right, man. You're good call. So to adjust, you're correcting me, which I love. So I've had it wrong. I'm not. I shouldn't assume 3 out of the NFC East, unless the Commanders.
Yeah, so I think
you got to win 11 games to get in. Maybe 10 games this year.
I think so.
There's a lot of.
I think 11. There's a lot of that.
Yeah, all those teams. Are right there.
Well, and I think Arizona and Arizona, San Francisco, and
Yep.
Washington. I think Philly wins the East. I think Seattle probably wins the West, and then we don't talk about the South. I think Atlanta will probably. I think Atlanta will probably win the South.
Yeah, that's a team I really
I
getting ready to really like watch because I mean Dijon Robinson, then you have Drake London, you have Kyle
mhm,
Pitts from Florida who's underwhelmed, but like
yeah,
3 years in a row they had like top 8, top 9 draft picks all at the skill positions. So they have weapons. It's a
yeah,
matter of Kirk Cousins because they have a respectable defense now. So it's kind of like as good as
yeah. The
Cousins is,
defense.
they're gonna be as good as their quarterback is. They're going to be because they have weapons
Yeah,
now.
yeah. They go how Darnold go or not Darnold. Sorry, Cousins goes is how they go.
Yeah,
If
they need
Cousins
a
has a
good
bad
stable.
game,
They need a good stable quarterback.
and I think Eric Cousins can be the guy for a couple of years while they groom Penix.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think that Atlanta is a as Cousins goes, so go the Atlanta Falcons. If Cousins has a bad game, they're going to lose. If he throws a couple of picks like he did against Seattle, they
Yeah,
just don't they just don't have that shutdown. They just don't have that ability to overcome mistakes. I think
yeah,
if you look at the best teams, if you look at Detroit, you look at Green Bay, Minnesota, Philly, Washington, Seattle. They have the ability to overcome mistakes. Where a bad pick, the defense makes a stop, holds them to a field goal, a fumble. They rally on the next drive. They give up a big play, and the offense goes down right down the field. The offense. They give up a touch. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. They're resilient. They're ready to punch back when they get hit in the mouth.
yeah,
Certain teams bounce right back. Some teams bounce right back, and some teams really squander those chances too. Like a Mahomes will
yeah,
come back. Love him or hate him, Mahomes is coming back the next drive probably
yeah,
to at least get 3 points. Like at certain spots, you're like, here's it
yeah,
coming. You can smell the points coming in soon. But yeah, then other
yeah.
games squander. I would say, man, just having a good quarterback is so important, man. Even look at the Titans.
It's huge.
The Titans are wasting like a year right now because Will Levis is like, I don't know if he's the one, but it's tough to find the one sometimes.
Well, Levis is hot garbage.
Took the Commanders like a decade. Some of these teams, man, look at the
Mm,
Broncos with all of Elway's picks. Is Bo Nix finally the guy? They've had like 12 quarterbacks in like 7 years, 14, 15
yeah,
quarterbacks. Maybe 15 or
yeah.
16 quarterbacks. They've had like 3
I'm
quarterbacks.
not sure.
They've had years where they have 6 quarterbacks. So it's like you got to
You
find that.
know,
It's easier said than done. Some teams still don't have, Carolina is Andy Dalton's not the
yeah.
guy. So it's like they're back to square one.
Uh,
The Giants, Daniel Jones has got to go. He's not the guy.
yeah.
Certain teams got to find their
And,
quarterback.
and you look at look at the perennial quarterback years of uh, Cleveland.
Oh yeah.
They've had what 15, 20, 25, 30 quarterbacks in the last 18 years.
So true.
And
Yep.
and then they get Baker Mayfield, right? And Mayfield isn't the guy, right? He's not the second coming of Bernie Kosar, right?
Yep.
And everybody's like
Massive.
they want him gone.
Such great expectations too for Baker. He was so hyped.
Yeah, yeah.
Cleveland's
No, and he was.
Brown fan base. They love their Browns out there, man. They hitched their
Well,
wagon to
yeah,
Baker.
yeah.
Just didn't work.
And he wasn't getting it done, and so they got rid of him, and then they bring in Deshaun Watson, and it's like
Disaster.
it was awful from day one, and
Yeah.
and he wasn't a good,
He's regressed
you know,
mentally and physically. He mentally and physically, he's the worst quarterback I've seen this whole year. Like he looks lost. He doesn't care. He's awful.
he's the
And
worst.
It's the worst contract. It's the worst contract in pro sports right now, maybe ever. They traded three number one picks for him, And next year, just next
Yeah.
year, his cap hit is his cap hit's $82.2 million just for next season.
I heard 79.9.
And he's stuck
Yeah.
at quarterback. It's like this cancerous
And
cloud. Everyone booing him.
and not
Oh my God! Sorry.
Tom, yeah.
So awful. Sorry, go for it, Adam.
Oh, everybody was so mad. Everybody's like, oh, why? Oh, that's so classless. Don't boo a guy that got hurt. And I'm like, in this case, boo the fuck out of him. He's not a good. You know, it's one thing. It's one thing if it's a good guy, a guy that's respected around the league as a person, and you're just mad because he's not a good football player. But Deshaun Watson's not a good person. He's a bad person. And he's been a bad person for 10 years.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And, you know, people complain about Dak in Dallas. And it's like, I would, you know, I bet you half the league would rather have Dak than their guy. And, you know, and it's like,
absolutely.
yeah,
Carolina would want Dak. I think even Anthony Richard has struggled. He's another guy that might be a bust. I don't know. He's been very rapid. He's got 3 concussions since last year. So Dak can play for plenty of teams in the league.
Miami would love to have Dak right about now. You know, I think Cowboys fans are delusional. I think Dallas has the most delusional fan base in the NFL.
Hard agree. I strongly agree. I approve of this message.
And you know, he's just having to have to listen to Cowboys fans talk in some of the groups I'm in, and it's like, just shoot me.
It can get rough.
You guys don't know ball. You guys are just insufferable. And Cowboys fans just, you know, when they're going good, they're the greatest team to have ever walked God's green earth. But when it's going bad, and it's not really, you know, they got shellacked a couple of times this year, but it's not the end of the world. Not only 2 losses. I think they're what? No, they had to bye this week. And and so
they have two or three losses. I think they have 2. They're 4-2. 4-2, right?
I think so. Yeah. And you would think they were 0-6. You know, and it's like
they get slammed a lot. They catch a lot of heat. They get a lot of heat, that's for sure.
And you know, and it's like for me, and it's like that's the one fan base that I just want to shut the hell up. Because like you guys are always a playoff team. You're always perennial contenders. You're always winning division. You're always top 5, top 10 offense, top 5, top 10 defense. You're always right there. And after spending the first 30 years of my life in mediocrity, finally having a team that's halfway decent with a good head coach and a decent quarterback and a running back tandem that's not hot ass, a defense that doesn't look like it's got both of their shoes tied together every other play, a quarterback that's competent. When we made that deal for Jared Goff, I wasn't exactly, I was sad to see Matthew Stafford leave because Stafford was my guy. Stafford.
Switching the ankle angle over here.
Yeah. You're good.
For the foot, I got it iced. I got it iced and everything. I got the medicine next door.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you're good.
This is fun. Though,
no,
nice little sports talk. This is a good setup.
Yeah. I appreciate you coming on because I couldn't do this by myself. I can't solo stream. But
we'll hit it up this week, man. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Till one of us goes back to work or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I ain't got it. I think we'll move it up in the day. So that we can have our evenings to do our own thing. Because there are other things that I do want to work on while I'm off. But
yeah.
But no, so like I so getting Jared Goff. I wasn't exactly sold on Jared Goff. Um, I wasn't sold on Dan Campbell. After they went 3-13-1 or whatever, or 2-13-1 or whatever it was, and then they were 1-6 to start his second season, and they
Rough.
they they hung their hat on the fact that they beat the Packers in the last week of the year, and that was their shining accomplishment. They kept Green Bay out of the playoffs, and
Yeah.
I was like, that's not an accomplishment, guys. That's pathetic. And then they looked, yeah, and no moral victories in the NFL, right? And then last year they come out and they put the league on notice.
Yeah.
They put the league on notice and went out and went to a championship game, a couple of drops away from a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And now they look like the best team in the NFC. And I wish we played Carolina. I wish we played Kansas City this week. I'd love to see what we could do with the Chiefs this week.
Absolutely.
I'll be right back.
I'm just grabbing ice for the from the freezer.
Oh yeah, you're good. Oh, go get my next team. I swear, I've been up since 9 o'clock this morning, and I'm only been up since 9 o'clock, and I could go back to bed. So, but and what is that? Oh yeah, no. Jared Goff. No, he didn't look great in the first two. In his first 2 years in Detroit, and then these last 2 years, he's looked like a world beater, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think it's the culture. They showed that they really wanted him by bringing him in, where he was kind of like never living up to the hype in LA. So I think it was good for him as a fresh start with that big trade they orchestrated to get him. And then Dan Campbell there. They have great offensive play calling. Now you got Jamison Williams, Amon St. Brown. You have an incredible tight end, Laporta. You have two very, very good, dynamic, different running backs. You have the best line. You have a top 1 or 2 line. I mean, you're right there. You have an absolutely elite offensive line. That's
Graham Glasgow, Penny Swell.
A well-oiled machine. That Detroit offense is as good as anything in the league right now.
And then Branch on the back end at corner.
Oh yeah.
I hope I'd love for us to go out and get Max Crosby.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I hope we do. We go and make that pull the trigger on that deal, get that done.
We'll see what they do. There's no question they're going to add someone. That's obviously the big news, along with maybe Myles Garrett.
And I don't know if Cleveland gets rid of Myles Garrett, with him being their only piece.
Yeah,
it'd be hard. You'd be hard for us to see them wanting to move Myles Garrett.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially if they can only get a 1 for him, because you need 2. You need 1.
Oh, you got to have
a pair of 1s.
I'd have 2 1s and 2 2s at him. I mean, he's the best. I think the best defensive player on the planet.
At least a 1 and a 2 next year. At least a 1 and a 2 next year.
Hutch is up there.
Yeah,
Garrett's like the guy in the league. He's the alpha of all the defensive studs, like the big boys up front, the pass rushers. Garrett's the Wayne Gretzky of this class.
Yeah, he's
not bad personal comp, not of all time. I'm saying like he's definitely like the best right now, the best in the business right now, and he's still young.
Yeah, he's still young.
I mean, that guy takes over.
And I don't think that I don't think you can move. I don't know if you can move on from him
Yeah, you're
with
right.
everything else that you don't have, and him being the only good piece you have. I don't know if you really want to let him go because you let him walk, and or you trade him and you get a first and a pair of seconds, or a pair of firsts and a second, and now you have to replace his production and hope that the guy that you get to replace now you have to use a draft pick on a guy to replace him,
Yeah,
and you're only making your opponents that much better. Yeah, obviously sending him to Detroit, it's not like sending him in the division or the conference, but if you do hit on a couple of pieces, and now you're going up against your former player in 2 or 3 years, ugh.
yeah.
So
Personally, I would never trade him. The rumor I'd heard was based out of the idea of a key reason, a key objective for why the Browns would want to ever be open to doing this would be to include the contract of Deshaun Watson
ugh,
in the deal
gross.
to get him off the books and out of the building. So like you got to take him, and then we'll give you Myles Garrett, and then still give us a couple, like at least a couple first rounders for Garrett. But then
Yeah.
they get freed out of that contract. So that would be like the motivating factor for the Browns, just as much as the draft picks. That's the one rumor I heard. It might be far fetched.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't trade him, but maybe if it helps them get rid of Watson, maybe. I mean, it's that bad. They're stuck with Watson for years. I mean,
Yeah. Watson's
they're dead in the water. They have to move on. Get him out of the
Watson's and unlike in the NBA or in the MLB, where you could do a deferment and get rid of him.
It looks weak. No more crutches up.
I used to have the crutches in my background all the time. I didn't care. But when you get, and unlike like Bobby Bonilla, where the Mets were able to push it out, where they only had to pay him like $1.25 million a year instead of having to pay him $30 million up front.
Yeah.
You can't do that in the NFL. You can't cut a guy and restructure a contract to pay him out till 2077 or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Over the 50 years or whatever. So for the Browns recouping that lot, they need him to come back and play well. That's the only way that's the only way they can make it work. Is that if they get
Imagine if he was good. Nick Chubb healthy. They just traded Amari Cooper. Great tight end, David Njoku. Normally a good line, really good defense. Denzel Ward, Ohio State, Myles Garrett up front. They have defenders.
Yeah.
Like that's a good roster. Watson just totally.
It's a decent roster. They have nice pieces on that roster. But Deshaun and the thing about Deshaun Watson is before his legal troubles, he was considered a top 5 quarterback, man. In Houston, he was.
Yeah, it's almost.
He was worth.
It's as much mental. It's as much mental as it is physical. Like I think he's off mentally. Maybe just like he knows how much disdain and like bad vibes and bad feelings are for him. And but he's not like looking at reads apparently. And then he has bad body language. If you look, he seems like he's kind of dialed out. Like his couple times he'll like brush off teammates that are trying to like high five him. He just looks bad. Body language, physically, mentally, everything. He looks bad.
Yeah. And maybe this injury will be good for him. He can take a step back, take some time off, get his head right, go see his split.
Jameis.
Oh, fuck Jameis Winston.
Yeah, the cannon. They're gonna probably roll with him next week.
Gonna have to. But
crab legs.
Maybe he can go get his head right. You go see a sports psychologist, talk to them for a couple of get a couple of sessions in with a sports psychologist, and try to. I think he's not old. I think he's 26, 27, something like that.
Yeah.
So he's not like it's not like he's 34. and he's falling off the cliff. He's still young enough where if that ACL will heal right, he can come back and be a baller.
Yep.
And I just don't know. I just don't know about just it's the money, man. And unless you get a crackhead in there at CM, you're not gonna get somebody to eat that contract.
No.
I just they're just kind of boned at this point. They're gonna have to ride it out and hope that Jameis Winston can come in and light a fire under everybody and right the ship, and they can get back to being an okay team. Or maybe you hope they crash out and they go they're in the top 5 and they can draft an offensive lineman next year. They can protect and open holes because we see what top 5, top 10 offensive linemen can do and how important they are.
Yeah.
And how quickly you can turn a franchise around with a good offensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. It starts up front. So
you go and you get yourself a top.
How longer they're strapped to Watson? Because I mean, I like the idea of a line, but I'd try to get a quarterback, and then I don't know if they can get out of his contract maybe after next year. I know they're stuck with him next year. That's why they're not doing anything right now.
Yeah, I think they're stuck with him for until 2027. 27.
Oh
yeah, they owe him 72.9 guaranteed for the next 2 years.
Oh my God, what a contract!
Yeah.
And they gave.
It's good money if you can get it.
Houston drafted like 2 defensive captains and like a running back.
Yeah,
they gave up like 3 number 1 picks and like hundreds of millions of dollars. Just travesty. The worst move.
Didn't they get? I think they got
pro sports, one of the worst moves ever.
I think one of the picks they got was C.J. Stroud, if I remember right.
Yeah. They got like 6 picks.
It was ridiculous, and then
absolutely horrendous.
Because Houston wanted to get rid of him because he's
still embroiled in all the legal trouble. He hasn't barely signed his contract yet, and they're like, no, you know what? We're gonna give you like a 9-year extension for like $500 million. He hadn't even suited up yet in like 16 months.
Yeah,
he comes back, totally shot. The second he shows up, they're like, what is going on here? What happened to this guy? Like, what is going on?
When he was before, I think
a lot different from Clemson.
Yeah, well, wasn't he? He got in legal trouble, and then he got hurt, and they traded him to Cleveland, if I remember right. He got hurt before he left Cleveland, or left Houston for Cleveland.
Yeah.
And holy Jesus. And then he gets to Cleveland and he sucks on ice.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And it's like, it's one thing. It's one thing to be mediocre. Like, a couple more touchdowns than interceptions, and a guy that's like, everybody's like, everybody, if I can speak English from now, a guy that everybody's like, oh, we need somebody better, and it's like, okay, who's better? Oh, I don't know, somebody. This guy stinks, and it's like, yeah, that's great. You can want in one hand and shit in the other, and see which one fills up faster. And but he's been so god awful. And unfortunately, there's nothing they can do with him. They can't move him, can't trade him. They can't cut him, can't trade him. And, he's got him over a barrel. It's a Mexican standoff.
Yeah, exactly.
And
he's really holding them high. Very brutal content. Terrible scenario.
And when he first got moved to Cleveland, and they got rid of Baker, I was like, okay, yeah, that's Baker really wasn't getting the job done. He wasn't happy. Move on. We'll get somebody new, and we'll make it work. And then Baker bounces around for a little bit. And he ends up in L.A. and he has a couple of good games in L.A. and he revitalizes his career. It makes people want him, and he ends up in Tampa Bay has that god awful year after Brady leaves because they didn't have an heir apparent because they didn't think long enough because Brady was only going to be there for 2 years and they should have been thinking long term, but they weren't. So they end up having Baker ends up falling in their lap, and now they're a competitive team again. They're not great, and now they have both of their top receivers out, so that's brilliant. It's pretty brutal. It's pretty brutal, and when you talk about playing till the end, playing 100% all the time, and you have to wonder, that makes me wonder what. That just it makes me wonder, how much practice, how at a certain point you have to throw the white flag and just move on to next week. And getting two of your top receivers, getting your two top receivers hurt in a game that's pretty well lost. It's I'm not. We'll have to ask Brad about that when we see him Thursday. But to me, that's just brutal, and so I would be mad if the Lions lost Ramon St. Brown and Sam Laporta, and at the end of a game that they were down by 10 in with a minute left. That would piss me right the fuck off.
That would not be a good look.
I would be. I'd be pissed. And so, and it's like I get playing to the end. You gotta go play it out. You never know what can happen, but last time I checked, the NFL doesn't have a 10-point play. And so, discretion is the better part of valor.
That's true.
And I love football.
Fun time of the year.
So, shall we move on to college football? We kind of struck the NFL out. We've been on it for an hour.
Yeah, let's go for it.
So,
what are you drinking over there? I got some water tonight.
I got Orange Crush.
Nice.
I just finished off a bottle of wine. I got Orange Crush and Bacardi with pineapple chunks for ice.
Yeah.
Frozen pineapple for ice.
Nice.
That's not good. I've had better. But so Oregon's number 1, right?
Yeah, right now they are. Well earned. They really played. That was a phenomenal game. What did you think of that game?
Yeah, I thought it was a great game. It was a lot of fun. I missed most of that game because I was at work, but I caught the tail end of that game. I didn't realize what had happened. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings getting some food and having a drink, and I looked down. It had gone to commercial, and so I was watching the other games. And I looked down to eat my garlic knot, and I looked up, and the game was over. I was like, "What did I miss?" And that was so. the Oregon got flagged for too many men on the field,
Yep.
and it didn't give Ohio State enough time to set up for a kick or whatever. So, I just think that I think Oregon, Georgia. I like the fight from Texas. I thought I know it was a 15-point game, but they never gave up. They kept scrapping, they kept clawing. I think Texas will be all right. Miami, they can throw it around the yard.
Yep. Yeah, they're still explosive as anyone.
They look good against They look real good against offensively against Louisville, but their defense needs help.
Yeah.
Because they were getting gashed left, right, and center like it was nobody's business.
Yeah, that's been happening.
Army, Navy are both in the top 25.
Yeah, surprising. That's really cool to see.
Army, Navy, and Vanderbilt. I don't know if that's ever happened in the history of college football.
Yeah, it's
the last time Army, Navy, and Vanderbilt were in the top 25 in college football.
It's cool to see. That's got to be the upset of the year for sure. Vandy over Alabama.
Yeah.
It takes the cake.
Didn't see that.
For now,
I wish I'd put
that's the creme de la creme for the year so far.
I wish I'd have put $1,000 on that game.
Yeah, I didn't take that one.
No, I didn't have that. That
was an epic game.
Oh, it was great. Well, my friend,
that quarterback was phenomenal, and he had gotten shunned by different major schools, and then he's on fire, fearless in Vanderbilt, such a ballsy. He was a spark plug. The guy was taking such risks and selling out, diving head first for first downs.
Yeah, of course.
That guy was awesome, dude.
If you ever want to see somebody give it 100%,
Vandy quarterback, he was great.
Yeah, well, and it's oh shit, my train of thought just crashed. I was gonna say something about that. Oh, my friend, she's a big Georgia fan.
Yeah.
And we watched the end of the Georgia Alabama game together. And Georgia had come all the way back, and they took the 1-point lead, and then the very next play, Alabama score, goes over the top and gets touchdown, right?
Yeah.
And so that next Saturday, I texted her and said, "You want to hear something that'll make you sick?" And at that point, Vandy was leading. I think it was 23-7 or something like that at the half.
Oh wow!
And I ended up having to go to work, so I didn't catch the end of that game. But when I got home, I found out that, or when I went to break, I found out that game had gone final and Vandy had beaten Alabama, and I was like, "Holy shit! What is going on?" Because
it's the game of their life. It's the game of their lifetimes.
Oh yeah, that's a game they're gonna look back on in 30 years and be like, "Yeah,
the program's like
that's a game that people that weren't even born yet are gonna claim they played in."
Biggest win by far in program history, by far.
Yeah. The first time in 30, 40 years that they had beat a top 5 team.
Yep.
The first time in 50 years they beat Alabama at home as a top 5 team, some ridiculous shit like that. And, and it's that's a game the kids that weren't even born yet are going to have claimed to play in.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be quite a few kids that have a birthday 9 months from that game. So, but no, I think I like. SC is in trouble. Michigan's in trouble. What happened to Lincoln Riley? Holy shit. He went from having top 5, top 10 quarterbacks,
Fall from grace.
winning games at OU, to being incredibly mediocre at SC. Dude. And SC was supposed to be a top 5, top 10 team this year. They were supposed to bounce back.
Yeah.
They beat LSU, and then they lose to Michigan and Penn State, and Michigan and Penn State. Penn State may be a top 5 team at the end of the year, but Michigan isn't. Not right now. Not right now, at least. They need to get right, and they need to get right in a hurry to have a chance at a playoff berth. Gotta run the table. Gotta beat Oregon and below Ohio. At the end of the year to have a chance at a playoff berth, but got to get a quarterback. Got to have a quarterback. God.
Are they still totally up here?
They put Tuttle in.
How did he look overall to you?
Awful.
Oh man.
Like I wanted to gouge my eyes out with a blunt steak knife. No, they've been criminally underperforming at the quarterback position. They got this 4-star red shirt that I just go to him. God damn. They went from Warren to Orgy to Tuttle, and none of them can throw the ball. Where the fuck? and the offensive line hasn't helped any at all.
They got to find someone that can throw a spiral, for God's sake.
Shit, Christ! I can probably go out there, my bad knee and my fat gut, and I can throw the ball 15 yards down the field, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
And
so they don't want to play the other guy. They want to preserve another year for him.
Yeah. They wanted to wait until next year to start him.
Just wait.
But we've gone 3 quarterbacks deep. Jesus Christ. And none of them have looked any good. And I can't without even the threat of a passing game. Teams are loading 9, 10, 11 in the box. Yeah. And daring Michigan to throw. You're playing press man coverage on the outside and putting, 8 in the box.
Yeah.
And last year with JJ McCarthy, he may not have been the greatest quarterback to have ever played quarterback, but he was at least competent. They had at least a halfway decent offensive line that could give him 2 seconds to throw the ball. And he had a couple of good receivers that could make some catches, the great tight end in Colston Loveland. And that's what made them so competitive and so dominant last year, was that offensively they had enough weapons, they had enough quarterback play that when they weren't running the ball, they could at least throw it semi-competitive, confidently, and play great defense until the running game took over. This year, without a quarterback, they can't just ground and pound because they're down by 13, 14, 15, 16. And they've got to be able to throw the ball to get back in the game, and they just can't throw the ball worth a damn.
Yeah.
And would Harbaugh, if Harbaugh hadn't have gone to the NFL this year, would Harbaugh have been able to do better? I don't know. It's frustrating, but that's the price you pay for winning a natty half the time. That next year sucks.
Yeah, you got the natty. Got to bounce back though. But this year's not the year. Next year's.
We'll get it. Yeah, we'll get. This year is about finding out who we are really, and just trying to be competitive, and then next year getting the ship right. Hopefully we can stabilize the ship. And we can pull off a couple of upsets and beat Oregon and run the table and beat OSU.
Yep.
And then get clowned by Georgia in the playoffs and be all right.
there's no 3 wins. They can't 3 losses. They can't. Are they going to get in this year? No. Think so? Maybe.
Maybe it'll be a tough road to hoe. And it'll be tough, but with wins over OSU and Oregon, honestly, that's just what I'm looking. It's just let's just stay competitive. Let's beat Michigan State. And if we can beat Michigan State, then oh well. We'll move on.
Yeah.
But because I'm pretty sure that we play Michigan State this weekend. I just want to beat Michigan State. Let's just beat Michigan State. Because I don't want to care for them. I don't want to, if we lose to Oregon, I don't have to. I don't. Yeah, let's just get through this one. Yeah, let's beat Sparty. Let's beat Sparty, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So, and then after and then because I almost accidentally removed myself from the stage. That would have been silly. But and football doesn't change much. It's quarterback driven game.
Yep.
If you have a halfway decent quarterback that you can keep that forces defenses to stay honest, and they can't just load the box and dare you to throw, and then you can't throw confidently. But yeah. You see, shall we switch to the MLB? Talk a little baseball for a minute.
Yeah, sure, man.
We're down to the final 2. Of course, it's New York and LA. Stupid, stinking Dodgers. Your Miracle Mets they cashed out their Miracle tokens.
They're no more. The dream is gone.
Yeah, the dream died.
Man. Fun run.
Yeah.
They proved themselves legitimate to the baseball world. Now they got the owner's full of money, so they're going to make some flashes in free agency. Let some guys go. Maybe curious to see if Alonso stays or goes. But
hopefully they can clean up the dead money.
It's gonna be fun.
Well, they got to clean up the dead money, and then they'll be all right.
What do you like for the overall now? I think I give the edge to the Dodgers.
Yeah, I like them both. I think it's going 7.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Yankees.
I think there could be a lot of runs scored too.
Yeah.
Those 2 lineups, man. Judge, Ohtani, Soto, Freeman, Betts.
Yeah.
There's some serious bombers going on. There's gonna be some serious runs.
Yeah, I think so. I think I could also see it being a very tight series, very low scoring series.
Yeah.
It always seems to be like when you have a series where you expect to be a lot of offensive explosions, a lot of 5-4 games, 6-3, 6-4 games. The bats just go cold.
Yeah.
You get a lot of 2-1 games and deep runs into the game before you get a couple of hits, string a couple of hits together and get a couple of runs.
Yeah.
So I don't know where this series will end up, but I think Yankees in 7, Dodgers in 6, something like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Dodgers in 7. I think it's gonna be one for the ages. A really good matchup.
Yeah.
A lot of star power. The league definitely is a fan of this scenario. So
yeah, absolutely.
Cultural, worldwide advertising. Ohtani versus Judge. It's a rated spectacle. So
New York versus LA.
It's a win-win for the league worldwide too. Like as far as marketing and stuff. I think MLB kind of wanted this matchup. Just the star power.
Yeah.
With the players,
Yeah.
the markets and the players.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a New York, LA, like NBA, stuff like that. Like it's like big, like bright lights.
Yeah. Like the NFL wants the Cowboys and the Steelers in the Super Bowl every year.
Yeah, or the Chiefs. Yeah,
I mean,
they love.
Like the NBA would love to have Knicks Lakers every single year, or Lakers Celtics.
Yeah, definitely.
No, that's how you can tell. That's how you can tell sports isn't rigged. Because if sports was rigged, Dallas and New England would have played a couple of times in Brady's heyday.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's too hard. Maybe one or two guys might do it on props, like the NBA player got banned from the league by David Silver. The Toronto Raptors player. Like if you're betting on yourself for like over under 5 rebounds. But like as far as the involving the coaching staff and the players, it's too hard to rig a game like that. And that with that scrutiny, that media coverage, that just supervision of every play, you'd have to orchestrate. I mean, that's a massive conspiracy. If you think about that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's rigged.
No, it would be like I could understand you might be able to convince a team to throw a series. You might be able to convince a team to, like the Black Sox 100 years ago. Or you might have a corrupt official like Donahue or whatever his name was, Donahue in the NBA.
Donahue, yep.
Yep. But in the totality of sports, like you can, with as much money as these guys make, even the lowest paid guy makes 10 times what the average person makes. Like you might be able to be bought for $750,000. Like some nefarious actor might be able to come to you and go like, if you slip this USB into your plant, well, I gave you $750,000, no questions asked. And you might be able to be bought for $750,000. But for the money that the players make, the money that the league makes, and the necessity of the league to play to appear legitimate, right?
Yeah.
It's not like in wrestling, like we all know wrestling's fake. We're in on it. We're in on the joke. We know that the show is a show. So we go, wrestling fans, and not the assholes on the outside being like, oh, it's fake. Yeah, we know it's fake. We don't care. We're rooting for these characters. Like, when you watch Narnia, you don't go, well, that lion is CGI and it's fake. Yeah, no shit there, Sherlock. Yes, we know that no one was hurt in the filming of Game of Thrones. We get it. It's a work. It's a show.
Yeah.
So, like, when people try to like, oh, the NFL fixes games, you might be able to say, oh, there's point shaving in the NBA or college basketball, or there's ticky-tack calls in the NFL because the league wants a certain outcome over another. But if you look at the totality of the best games and the best teams that generally win the league championships, it's the teams you expect. It's Kansas City. Yeah, because they're fucking good. Because they're a good fucking team. They're the best quarterback in the fucking league. What do you expect? And
they've also been getting a lot of calls, but
they get a lot of calls, but that's what good teams do. Good teams get calls.
They get some nice calls, definitely.
Yeah,
they get some cooking.
When you're a good team, you get a couple, 2, 3 favorable calls a week. And when you're not a good team, you get no calls. So try not being a shitty team. Start with that.
That's true.
When you're a bad team, you want to blame the refs, you want to blame everything but your own piss poor performance. Yeah. I remember those Bud Light commercials from about 15, 20 years. I think they were on radio. Those radio Bud Light commercials. and they had this guy. His name was Leon, right? And in the commercial, they're like down in the locker room asking about the game, and and the reporter goes, "So you don't think your four fumbles had anything to do with today's loss?" He goes, "Well, not if one of them other guys would have jumped on it."
Go ahead.
And and it's like when it's very much. I think it was Vince Lombardi that said, when you win, say nothing. When you lose, say even less.
Yep.
You know, when you start pointing fingers and you start making excuses like, oh well, if one of these other guys would have made a play, we would have won the game. And then you start blaming the referees screwed us, and like, yeah, well, you should have never let it. Your team you can't let it get down to whether a ref makes the call one way or the other. You go out there and you do your job, and then if the referees did screw you, then well, now you have a complaint. But very rarely does an official make a call
Yeah.
that actually costs you a game or impacts your ability to win a game. And when it comes to a lot of these fan bases, these fair weather or fickle fans that only like their teams if they're winning and have nothing but negative things to say about their team. Look, having been a Lions fan, a Red Wings fan, a Pistons fan, and a Tigers fan my entire life, I had nothing but negative things to say.
Wow.
And it keeps you, but you gotta have, you keep it in perspective that these guys are people. They're humans. They're trying just as hard as you are at your job. You phone in on Monday. You're not always there on every. You're not present for every sales call. You're not giving it 100% when you know you have no shot at closing the client. You phone it in and you go drink margaritas down at the bar with your friends because that's what you do.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might find a lady friend who'll rub on your privates. If you get lucky. I'm looking at you, Urban Meyer. And I try to remember that these guys are humans. They're people. They want it just as much as anyone, and at the end of the day, they're just doing they're just doing the best that they can do, and they like you're talking about Sirianni. We go back. We can just go wherever. But you're talking about Sirianni, and has he lost the team, and it's like at the end of the day, you're just doing the best you can do. You're just trying. You're trying, and it gets really frustrating when you're trying your ass off and nothing's working. And I've been learning drums for the last 6 months, and it's like night and day from not knowing anything to being able to read sheet music. And I don't know if you've ever played an instrument.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are like, "Oh, I was self-taught," and I'm like,
"Yeah, drums my whole life, Adam."
I hear you. Drums are my favorite instrument. I love playing drums, and
I love it.
And
I love it.
I started taking lessons. I started finally taking lessons earlier this year,
Nice.
And I absolutely adore playing drums, but I couldn't be where I'm at without a good coach, without a good teacher, and I think that's what makes the great coaches great, like Mike Tomlin and Andy Reid. Andy Reid's a great teacher. Bill Belichick, great teacher. These guys the great coaches know how to get the most out of their players, and whether they're young guys or old guys, whether they're free agents or rookies coming in, the Bill Belichick's of the world, the Andy Reid's, Bill Belichick's, Bill Cowher, John Harbaugh, they're always able to get to elevate those players. up to the next level. And
Yeah, for sure.
when it comes to the next handful of weeks, I really think when it comes to the NFL, when we get to Thanksgiving, that's when we start to really know what we have on our hands. I think weeks 8 to 12 are the most important, the most crucial weeks of the year. They talk about the dog days of summer. These are the dog days of the NFL. And I these are the weeks that I look forward to the most because these are the most telling weeks because everybody's banged up, everybody's got a couple injuries, everybody's got a couple of guys in IR, and this is when you really have to dig deep, and this is when being a gritty team is the most. This is when grit and determination, the teams that can rub a little bit of dirt on it and get back after it. These are the weeks where they start to shine, where the cream starts to rise to the top. Because weeks 12 to 18 are sorting out. By week 12 we have the cream. We know who the top 5-6 teams are going to be. We know who's probably going to have the buys. We know who's going to who's going to win the divisions. Like the AFC South might be up, or the NFC South might be up for grabs, and the at both Souths might still be up for grabs. But the other 6 divisions have pretty well sorted themselves out. And so at this point, I think that this is where you have a chance to have the biggest impact on the season.
For sure.
Where the Jets have a chance to turn it around. Don't mind me, I'm just munching on my pen.
I think they'll make a little bit of a run. But we'll see. They got to win the next couple games. I think they'll get a win.
Yeah. I think so. I like them to beat New England. So
yeah, I think so. Watching any hoops tonight? Opening night. Knicks Celtics.
Is it opening night? Knicks Celtics. Okay. I might have to tune it in. I'm figuring we go another 20 minutes or so. I'm going to jump off here and go play my drums for a couple hours.
Oh yeah.
Because,
nice.
Because,
do you have a kit there? Do you have beat pads? What do you have? Do you have a full kit?
I have an electronic kit. Let's see if I can turn that. And then
I like that. That's great, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. I have it's under E200. I absolutely fucking adore it. I think it's a great fucking kit. The only thing I had to get for it was because I like to record my drums when I play. So because I do TikTok stuff. So if you want to check out my drumming, it's over on my TikTok.
Oh, nice.
But I bought an iRig for my kit, and so and it works great because the hi-hat's really low, and which is really annoying. Everything else sounds great. The toms, the cymbals, and the snare and the floor drum all sound really great. But the hi-hat when I'm trying to play the hi-hat, if I have it up loud enough where I can hear the hi-hat, everything else blows out the hi-hat. So it's a no-win situation. The only thing I don't have, the thing that I wish I had was software, with music software, because I would love to be able to go in and individually tune my kit to play, because I was doing some recording stuff earlier this week, and I was recording a song that I've been working on for a couple months, and I like it. I finally got it down where I'm like, okay, cool, I can play this. I can play it without having to think about it, and it's no problem. But the only problem is that when I hit the when I'm up on the ride cymbal, because I've one section, one measure where I'm it's snare four or yeah, snare four tom, mid tom, and the ride, and it just sounds super loud, and it's like I wish I could have just turned that down just a skosh, because that would have literally, because the rest of it sounds really good, because I do, it's a hi hat bass, hi hat low tom, and then it's two measures of that followed by a measure of the snare and floor, and then mid and the crash, or the ride I should say, and no, it's the crash cymbal. And because I really liked how that sounded, I just wish I could have turned down the crash just a smidgen. That would have been super good, because when
That's good.
yeah, no, I just don't have the tech. I just don't have the software to do that. But it's on my bucket. It's on my to-do list. But so I've been playing for about 6 months. Still looking for a band. If anybody needs a drummer,
Nice.
let me know. I can play a 4/4.
I played some
I can do that. Yeah, I don't know. I just want to play. I just want.
a lot more grown up. I still play like
I was playing some Fall Out Boy last night. That's what I was playing. Um, I was playing. I was playing. I played the whole. I played all but one track, because I have an app that has tablature for the drums, so I can learn songs. And I was playing all of Fall Out Boy's from under the cork tree, all but one song, because there was just yeah, one of the tracks on there. But I'm pretty good. I can play We Will Rock You. Play that one. It's super fun. Super fun to play. Play that.
nice.
I can play. I can pretty well play Back in Black by AC/DC. There's a lot of stuff that I like to play, but I'm not very good at playing it yet, because there's a lot of stuff where it's like it goes hi hat, and then it's like hi hat snare. It's like hi hat and snare, hi hat and snare, and so I'm still struggling with that. To a lesser extent, but I have fun with it. I love playing, and with all the time off that I have right now while I'm in between jobs and trying to figure that out, I'm just filling my time with streaming and playing drums and trying to get better at both.
That's great.
um,
Cool, man. I played a lot in high school and then through college and like late 20s, even like more percussion stuff, but
yeah,
like bar band type stuff. GNRs, I love Zeppelin, Stevie Ray, Hendrix. I played for a summer with John Mayer way back in the day. From the
yeah,
same town.
you're telling me about that.
Fairfield,
Yeah, you're
Connecticut.
telling me that you played this.
So that's
Right, yeah, you're telling me you played.
just for a couple weeks. Dude,
Yeah.
Adam, there's no reason that starting 6 months you could be like a total badass drummer within like a year or two. Just tackle it.
Yeah, no,
that's awesome.
yeah, I'm up on it.
You're getting better
I'm up on it. Every day, man. It's like funny because like when I started, because I went to the library and I bought borrowed some drumming books, because I was like, I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna learn how to play this stupid instrument, because I love this instrument. This is my instrument. And like I tried playing guitar. I tried playing guitar for years, but I could never remember chords. I couldn't remember how to finger chords. And I'm pretty good at fingering, but just not chords. But I've always loved playing drums, and my buddy, a guy I don't hang out with anymore, but a guy I hung out with at the time, he had a kit, and he let me goof around on his kit a couple of times. But his kit was like, he had like $3,000 worth of drums. And I really didn't like playing on his kit, because he had $3,000 worth of electronic drums. And I didn't want to do anything and mess it up. So he recommended this kit to me. He's like, yeah, try Donner. They have nice kits. It's like, okay, cool. So I bought this plus Plus, I got an amp, and I got the seat, which I don't use because I can't sit in that seat because it kills my back. So if I want to play extended periods of time, I sit in this folding chair because it has a back on it. So I sit up I sit up pretty close on the kit when I'm playing.
With my knee up right now, I'm messed up how I'm sitting right now. It's so important. Good posture and all that stuff.
Yeah. And then the nice thing about this, I love it because I play late at night. I'll play 2-3 in the morning. I'll be down here on my kit just banging away. And I live in an apartment complex, and I don't bother the neighbors apparently because they don't come and say anything. So I that's why I love my electronic kit. It's like I've never had, no one's ever called the cops, no one's ever knocked on the door like, hey, can you knock it off? We're trying to sleep. So and with this free time I have, I've just, I want to get better, trying to get better every day. And so, and I'm kind of enjoying being unemployed, as it were, or semi-unemployed. Because I have so much more time to do the things that I enjoy. And like, I want to get good enough where I can be in a band. I don't have to be the world's next Keith Moon or whatever, who's like one of my idols. I think the world of Keith. But,
that's great.
But I just want to be good enough to tour. And if I can get good enough where I can go and tour and be a touring band, and that's how we make our money, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. There you go. I gotta just put the ice in the freezer.
Yeah. Well, I think
I gotta just put the ice away.
Yeah. You're good. So, how long are you gonna be on crutches? You said 6 weeks.
Yeah, 6 weeks coming up. So, not the worst, not the end of the world, man. No driving, no walking for 6 weeks.
Ugh, that's the worst. Are you casted?
So you're playing drums. Yeah, it hurts, dude. I'm just like sedated like that, and then it's just like blood thinners and a couple of different pills they're giving me too. So I'm just hanging out.
Did they put you in a cast after they got done with the
garden? Sometimes the break is the best thing you need. So we're both the same.
Yeah. I definitely needed this break to get my head right. Yeah. I've been working like every day, working at like 2 jobs every day for the last 2 years. I'll probably at the beginning of next year, I'm going to find a second job in the mornings, but for now, I'm just going to enjoy my time off and burn through my unemployment and go from there. Cause I'm just enjoying some actual downtime and only one job. It's pretty glorious. Did they cast you up after your surgery?
Yeah, it's like a compressed cast or whatever you want to call it. It's all wrapped up. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
You get used to it, but sometimes if it like like flames up a little bit and gets a little bigger, then it might push outwards against the cast, which can make it really a little painful there. But overall, it's not too bad.
The worst part is when the top of the cast starts to itch right under it, and they tell you not to scratch, and it's like, oh my god, it itches so bad.
Yeah. That can be a rough scenario. Yep. No bueno. Not the best look. Not the best feel right there.
No, because I was cast after I broke my foot.
What's the biggest problem? Oh yeah, go for it. Sorry, Adam.
No, you're good. After I broke my foot, I was cast for September, October, November, December. I was cast for 4 months. Yeah, I wore a cast for 4 months before they put me in a walking boot. Then I was in a walking boot for a week.
Wow.
And they told me once I felt, they said, okay, so this is what we want you to do. You want to wear your walking boot and walk everywhere. And I was like, okay. And then like 2 hours a day, take it off and walk around on your without it on and start rebuilding your foot. And so I did that for about a week, and then
Wow.
Christmas Day of 2017, I was like, screw it, I'm not wearing the walking boot anymore. It's too much of a pain in the ass to put on. And so I've went through the world ever since. Yeah, I was in a car. I was in a car wreck, and I shattered my heel bone. So
Oh man.
yeah, and of course
Were you
it's my.
sitting in the back seat or were you up front?
I was driving.
Oh, what did you do? It hurt, shatter part of your heel bone?
Yeah,
Ooh,
the
sorry.
calcaneus bone. Yeah, the one bone in your foot you can't break. I managed to break it. So go me.
Wow. That's tough, man. I'm
So
sorry.
yeah, tell me.
How long were you?
No, son. Of course, I was
Sorry.
I was cast for 4 months, and I was in the walking boot for about a week before I took it off and was like, screw it, I'm not wearing this stupid thing anymore.
Okay. Wow. Any recent any flame ups or re-steps where it's like you feel it again or not?
Yeah, pretty much all day.
It's still hurting.
Oh yeah, right now it's not hurting, but then I've been drinking, so it doesn't really hurt if I drink. If I have something to drink, I feel pretty all right. But I limp pretty severely. In the mornings and the evenings, it'll hurt. I missed a couple of days of work when I was working at the other place because I just couldn't get my boot on because my foot was so sore. I just couldn't physically get my boot on to go to work. I just called out, I'm like, I'm staying home. So, but I lost that job because I just couldn't get up in the morning. I just hated working mornings. Hated being up so early. So I'm gonna find some. That's 5:30.
Wow.
I've always been a night owl. I've always liked staying up late. So I'm gonna look for some mid-morning shifts. We'll look for some 10 a.m. shifts, 10 to 3:30, and then work my other job in the evening.
Yeah.
And make that work, and then play my drums and try to find a band, and that's my goal. That's my goal for the next 2-3 months is live off unemployment and my other job, and live off my unemployment and my other job, and I got my 401k. I'll be cashed out here soon, so pay some bills off with that and live off part of that, and try to find work as a musician because at the end because I'd already, even before I lost the one job I'd already wanted, I was ready to quit. It was just a matter of time. I was just biding my time to quit and do the drumming thing full time. So that's where I'm at, and I figured I figured because I knew you were on bed rest for a couple 2-3 weeks at least. I figured you would have your mornings free, mid afternoons, mid mornings, middays.
Yeah.
I figured we could jump on a stream and do a stream every day or every couple of days, and then we could stream on Thursday nights with Brad. And
yeah. Sweet, dude.
Yeah.
I took out Minnesota at Lakers. I got the T-Wolves.
Okay. Yeah, I like it.
That's later.
I don't think the Lakers are going to be very good this year.
No, they're kind of getting beat up. I mean, LeBron and AD are prone to injury, unfortunately.
And old. They're both older. And when you get LeBron just can't go in there and bang like he used to.
No.
And the game has changed. The game has evolved. The game has evolved where you have to be a perimeter shooter. You have to be able to hit threes. You have to be at least a 50% clip at three. Because
you're it's different now.
back in MJ's day, when we were growing up watching basketball, that the interior shooter was where it was that mid-range shooter, 15 to 20,
Yeah.
12 to 20 feet, right? And as analytics got better, as teams started doing a little bit more math, they realized that from 12 to 20, they shot at a 42% clip, but from 21 to 24, they shot at a 41% clip, but they averaged more points because if you had 8 2-pointers, you're 8 from 20, and 8 from 20, you outscored your opponent by 8 points because you had the exact same number of baskets, or even 9. If you were 9 for 20 from 12 to 20, you only had 18 points. And if you were 8 from 20 from 3, you had 24 points. You outscored your opponent by 6 points. So it makes more sense to either inside within 2 feet or outside the arc, because that mid-range game has gone away because if you can hit from 20, why can't you hit from 21 or 22? So in the perimeter game,
it's true,
because has really that
extend the range.
Yeah, it's the Steph Curry effect because the Warriors were able to knock down, because even if they went 9 for 24 and you went 9 for 20, you had a better shooting percentage, but you still got outscored. And you got outscored 24-18.
The more shooters, the more spaces the court, and it opens up lanes for other players to score easily. So everyone if you shooting, everyone on the court, everyone should be a weapon. It's a different game now.
And then you have guys down low, so that 2 to 6 is just as in 2 to 6, and 21 to 24 is if you're 20 for 24 from within inside the arc, or inside the in the paint, you score 40 points right there, and then you have another 24. You have 64 points to your opponent's 58, right? And so now you have a 6-point cushion going into the second half. And if you just back that up, you had 124 or 128. Sorry, I did the math wrong. 116.
Yep, 116.
Yeah. And so their shooting percentage looks better. Yeah, because they scored. They were more effective. They were more effective offensively, but you were more efficient offensively, and that's what the Warriors did. That's what the Warriors were able to do. As they were able to push the perimeter game out, right? They were able to extend the wings. They had Draymond down low, right? And then they had Steph and Clay, who could both drain threes from anywhere on the court. I mean, you had Steph draining threes from the fucking tunnel, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And then you got 6. You got 6 foot.
You could have a Harrison Barnes and Andrew Wiggins cutting to the rim. Good role players everywhere. They were top notch. That run is gone, but they were awesome.
No. But they changed.
They slowed down.
They
had to break up the vampire.
Yeah, but they changed the way the game was thought about.
Oh yeah.
And so they ended up creating. Now you have 6'10", 6'11", 7-footers. They can knock down threes from the arc.
Yep.
And they can put the ball. They can put one dribble, and you can't guard them. A 6'8" point guard can't get out on a 7-footer and get a hand up because he's got 3 inches on him, 4 inches on him. And so I think I don't think we'll ever see basketball go back to the that 80s style of big unless they change the free throw the 3-point line or because there's nothing they can do about it, right? Because even if you were to try make it, there's just nothing. That mid-range game is gone. There's nothing you can do to get it back.
Yeah, the one star
because even if you
guys like Tatum uses it, Brown will use it. There's a couple other guys in the league that rely on it a little bit. DeMar DeRozan, but everyone now is 3-and-D or going to the rim running, going to the hole.
Yeah, going to the hole, take it to the hole, and kick it. Take it to the hole. Take it to the hole and kick it to the corner.
Yeah.
Because if it's not there, you throw it.
I'm gonna ice my knee up. I gotta move around a little bit.
All right, sounds good. I was ready to get off here anyway.
Yo, hit some drums.
We'll see you,
We'll talk over on Facebook.
All right, we'll see you in the morning or mid-afternoon.
Yeah, sure, man. Let's talk over Facebook, and then we'll schedule it for tomorrow.
Yeah,
we'll do it.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, perfect.
Yeah, man.
Have a good night.
Play some drums.
Hell yeah.
All right, man. All right, later. Thanks, man.